Wait a minute, I can't see anyone. Sorry, I don't need to see you all. There we go. Hi, guys. This is just going to be kind of a brief overview of how to get paid on time. I'm going to touch on some key points of like where documents should be going, what documents you kind of need, how to submit your commission tab, when you should be submitting stuff like that. It's not going to be like the deep dive into DocuSign and command in forms and stuff. We'll do that at a different time. So just, especially for newer agents, this might be like overwhelming or like way over. So don't worry about it. We will revisit it as time goes on. So first things first is when you need to get paid, you need to start your opportunity and end your opportunity in command. So you're going to go to agent.kw.com and you're going to log in. Let's see if I remember my password. Of course I don't. Oh, because that's not my, hold on. I don't remember my username, guys. Hold on. The beauty of technology is saving it over here. Okay, I'm in. So first thing you need to do is make sure that the person who's either buying or selling that you're representing is a contact in your command. How you do that is if you come over here to this KW, you good? Am I good? Sorry, I'm talking to Ashley. She's the only one in the room with me right now. You're gonna hit this red KW. If you click it, it will tell you home, contacts, tasks, etc. We wanna go to contacts first. So we're gonna click contacts. And as you can see, I have random contacts in here if it ever comes up. But what I'm gonna do is click add a contact up here on the right. And we're gonna use Ashley as the contact, but you would obviously put your person in. All you really need is their name and their email. That's all you need, nothing crazy. And then you can add it as a lead source if you have those tagged. I don't really have anything tagged, obviously, because I don't work in real estate, but that always helps you track your business if you're looking to see where your leads come from. And then you're gonna hit create. Oh, she already exists in here. So let's do her Gmail account. Create. Perfect. So then the next thing you need to do once the time comes is you need to create an opportunity. You can do this two ways. You can either click contacts and find the contacts, or you can go to opportunities. But since I'm in contacts, I'm just going to search for Ashley. And I'm going to click her. We're going to open her up. Over here, it's going to say opportunities. So I'm going to click on opportunities. And it says no opportunities because we don't have one yet. So I'm going to click create opportunity. Now, a couple things to see about this tab. It's going to say Andover because that's the market center you belong in. If you were on a team, this is going to come up with your team, and your owner is actually going to be the rainmaker of your team. Otherwise, you will be the owner. The most important thing on this tab, because you can't go back and fix it, is the listing, buyer, landlord, tenant, opportunity type. It makes sense later on when we have to pick the checklist of where you actually need to upload your documents. So if it's a listing, make sure you pick a listing. If it's a buyer, make sure you pick a buyer. Otherwise, you have to delete the opportunity and start all over again. I'm going to say it's a listing, and we're going to say that Ashley's selling. You want to, if it's a listing, you want to change the opportunity name to the property address. If you have a buyer, you can leave it as the buyer's name, but before you submit your documents, you're going to change that in another spot, which I will show you so that I can find it, because we search by address. So if the address isn't there, I can't find your opportunity. So we're going to say Ashley's selling 138 River Road. So I'm going to hit create. No, I'm not, because I forgot there was more down here. You have to put the commission rate in. I'm going to say that I'm going to charge Ashley 3%. It's only your percentage, not the total commission. So if you're taking a listing for 5%, you still only want to put 3% in here because it's only for your commission. And if you're the buyer agent, you're probably going to put 2 in. It could be different. You can change it later on. So you're going to hit create now. So I'm going to click on this to get to the opportunity, and it's going to open a new tab at some point. I promise. It will stop spinning. Here we go. Okay, so a couple things here. General information. You want to make sure most of this, everything is filled out that needs to be filled out, but the more stuff you fill out here will feed into your DocuSign room or your loop if you're using loop. But a big important part here that people seem to forget is this property. Now, if you have the buyer, you're not going to know the property name yet, but if you have the listing, you want to immediately go here, click on property, and you have to pick if you're in the US, and then we're going to start typing in 138 River, and it's connected to Google Maps, so it's going to normally come right up. Then we hit save. So now it knows that it's this listing. It's linked to the listing. So just take a quick look. We don't need to enter anything else on here. Seller profile, if Ashley was registered with the app, it would show up here. You don't need to do anything with this tab to get paid. Documents. Now, when I said before in the very first tab that you needed to make sure you picked listing or buyer because it would be a problem later on, it's because of this area right here. So what you have to do is pick a checklist type. So because I picked a listing, when I click checklist, only listing checklist will come up. So if I actually meant to put buyer, I'm not going to have the right checklist to put the right documents in. So we have mass. And then if you do commercial deals, which we have a commercial division, if you ever need to do that, we have commercials checklist as well. But we're going to say it's Massachusetts. So I'm going to pick Massachusetts residential. When I pick that, right here, it says listed, under contract, and closed. Many people, with everything getting busy and moving parts and stuff, seem to forget that they need to upload the documents under all 3 of these things, and they upload them to the wrong sections, which creates chaos and slows things down in getting paid. So first things first is listed, under contract, closed. If you look over here, and I will send out checklists later of documents, it tells you if it's required, conditional, or optional. If it says it's required because it's state law or it's something our broker, Susan, requires. So these are placeholders telling you what we need. You actually will attach your documents later here. So, and you can, if you click the requirements, it will filter it for you kind of. So you can be like, oh, all right, all the required documents I have at the top now, boom, I'm done. Things like that. So once you've filled that stuff out, you're going to hit submit to Market Center. Then you would come to the under contract section once you've put an offer in and it's gotten accepted, or you've accepted an offer in this case, and it's going to ask you for the same certain things. We have certain required documents, certain things are conditional for various reasons, and optional. You're going to do the same thing, upload your documents, and then hit submit. And then once it closes and it goes on record, you're going to hit closed, and you're going to update the HUD, the CD, the alter, whatever the closing disclosure is at the end. It depends on what type of transaction it is. If it's a cash deal, it's going to be a HUD. If it's finance, they're either going to give you the closing disclosure or the ALTA. It varies depending on who the attorney is. Whichever one you get, once it's signed, you're going to add here. And you should add your commission statement here too, just so that you have a record of it in there. And then you're going to also hit submit. If you do not hit submit, this is a huge thing that I don't think some people haven't realized. And again, it's because there's a lot of moving parts. If you do not hit that submit to MC, I cannot see your documents. So even if you've hit submit on the listed and you've uploaded stuff under contract, but you haven't hit submit under contract, I still can't see it. So it's really important that you make sure you hit submit on all 3 sections. That seems to be the most confusing part for some people. Now, if it was a buyer transaction, listed would actually say consultation, and you'd upload the documents you get signed when you sign a buyer. But the under contract and the closed are the same for either buyer or seller. then you would go to offers and commissions, but I'm going to stop for a second. So, but when you actually have to put your documents in here, you actually have to start the transaction. What you would do is click start a transaction. When you click that, it opens up a new tab and you sign into your DocuSign account, because I have DocuSign. If you have .loop, it's going to bring you to .loop. So like I said, because I actually don't have access to the documents, so I can't show you the documents, but when you get all your documents signed in DocuSign, which again, we will teach at a different time, you're going to come back in here and you're going to have to upload them. So the first thing you're going to have to do is click sync transaction. So you make sure it syncs with the most recent documents in your loop if you're using .loop, or your room if you're using DocuSign. They're called rooms in DocuSign and loops in .loop. It's all the same thing. It's where the documents are. And then you're going to hit, you can do one of two things. You can hit attach multiple files, and you would either pick manual if it's on your desktop, DocuSign, or this would say .loop if you're using .loop. And if you hit DocuSign in a perfect world, you'd say, oh, mandatory disclosure. Okay. And then you would just select your mandatory disclosure, right to sell, et cetera, and you'd hit attach. The other way you can do it, if you only have to upload one document, is you could literally just hit attach file, pick where you're going to do it from, and then you would attach and hit assign. Once that all happens, like let's just for kicks, I'm going to say manual. We're going to pretend that I have it on my desktop. All right, we're going to use the golf flyer. We're going to hit open. It's going to upload. And then we're going to hit assign as soon as it's done uploading. I'm going to hit assign. Now you see that this submit to MC is not grayed out and you can hit submit. So once you've uploaded all your stuff, you're going to hit submit to MC, submit. Now it says submission successful. I'm going to show you what it looks like on my side. So you wouldn't have access to this, but I have this command MC. So when I click that, I go to opportunities. And it maybe comes up. And as you can see, I have 93 compliance requests to check. So I'm going to be a busy girl, but I'm going to type in 138 River because that's the name of my opportunity and that's the address. There it is. So then it says submitted. You can see, I can see that nothing else was submitted, obviously. So I'm going to hit review. And then as you can see, I can only see listed because that's all that was submitted. I'm going to click new documents because I want to see what was uploaded. And I'm going to be like, oh, yep, that's the right document. And I'm going to hit approve. Now, if something is wrong with the document, it's missing a signature, it's not the right document, it needs to be fixed. I'm going to hit reject and I have to add a comment and I could say missing signature. And it's going to type backwards because that's the way the technology is going today. And then I'm going to hit reject. You're going to get a notification, but I will also send you a follow-up email to let you know what needs to be fixed, just so that we don't miss anything. So because that's rejected, I have to return it. So what I would do is I would change the status from submitted to returned. And when I do that, it kicks it back to the agent. Now, that's essentially how you get paid as far as that goes. The other thing that needs to happen once purchase and sale is signed, and I stress that it needs to be done. Your documents need to be all submitted. They should all be signed by this time. Once purchase and sale is signed. The reason for that is because much like you guys who have to track your pipeline and where your money is coming from, I have to do the same thing for the market center for budgeting expenses and to make sure that we can check your documents in a timely fashion before closing happens and that you can get paid on time. If you're submitting it last minute, as you can see, I have 93 things to check. It might hold up in you getting paid because it was submitted at the last minute. So that's why we ask if you could please submit it at purchase and sale. I know it's busy out there. I know that you're a human and things happen. I'm not going to kill you if it's not purchase and sale, but rule of thumb is if you can submit it at purchase and sale, we can always fix dates later, things like that. So you'll upload all your documents and submit them once purchase and sale is signed. So you would submit your listing documents and your under contract documents at purchase and sale. Then what you have to do is go to this offers and commission tab. When you click this, and for those of you who used to be here, like who have been here longer, which I believe, Brian, it might just be you on the call. This used to be called the green sheet. So when you come here, there are new offers for this deal. Hold on 1 minute. I should be able to add the offer though. Aha, hold on. I have to get back into my command. Excuse me, sorry. Let me get back into my agent side. So what you would do is you would be in your opportunity that I'm getting back into. Sorry, guys. Beauty of having access on both sides. I'm going to go to all opportunities, maybe. There we go. I'm going to pick the opportunity I need to do. I'm going to go to the offers and commission tab. Now, you're going to hit add a new offer. You can call it initial offer, accepted offer. It's really whatever you want to call it. It doesn't have to do with getting paid. It's just to help you. So I'm just going to leave it as initial offer and hit create offer. You have to put this in order to get to the commission part so that you can actually get paid. So offer date, you can leave it as such. Close date, put the anticipated close date. Again, I know that some things move up and down and whatnot. We can fix that later. So I'm going to say it's closing the 10th. What the heck? Parties. Now, because I have the seller, it automatically fills in the seller's information. If I had the buyer, it would do the same. So we're just going to say that I'm buying it. What the heck? So I'm going to have to fill in the buyer's name. That's actually all you need to fill. Anything with the red asterisk is all you need to fill in for this. So all of a sudden, I mean, also obviously it has my representation because I'm the listing agent. It fills in your information, but we're going to say that, Brian, you're going to be the buyer agent. Okay. So I'm going to put Brian's name in and we're going to hit terms. You can't just put the sales price in. It won't let you because it wants to know what cash was put down and finance amount. Now, if it's an all cash deal, you're going to just put cash. If it's finance, you're going to have to look at the P&S and see what's being financed. As long as you can get the sales price to just match with the sales prices, it actually really doesn't matter for purposes of getting paid. If you're going to use this to submit offers to your clients, then yes, you have to be careful. I would look at what their offer is saying and go off of that. But we're going to say it's an all cash offer. What the heck? We're going to say we're going to buy this for $600,000. So I'm going to put 600,000 in. You don't have to put any of this in to get paid. You can go down to agent analysis. Again, this agent analysis is if you're going to submit this, because there's a way to submit a spreadsheet through here to your clients to look at the offers. You would put pros and cons of the offer and a summary of what you think. But for purposes of getting paid, which is what we're talking about, I'm leaving it blank and we're going to hit save. When that happens, you actually have to go in and click accept offer because we're going to say that this is the offer that the client accepted. So I'm going to hit accept. And when you hit accept, now you can click manage commission. So when you click manage commission, a couple of things. It still doesn't put the contract date in. This is a glitch that they've been working on, but it doesn't. So what you have to do is you're going to hit edit general information and just put the contract date back in. So we'll just say it was May 1st. What the heck? Now, let's say your commission rate changed if you're a buyer and you're actually going to, like if this was a buyer transaction, you're like, oh, I'm actually getting 2.5% instead of 2, you can change it here. Or God forbid something happened with the listing and you had to change your commission for some reason, 3%. Or let's say you're not getting a percentage of the list price, you're getting a percentage of the net price. So you know your commission is $10,000, you'd put $10,000 in here. It'll calculate the commission rate for you. So if you know that you're getting paid on the net commission, because the sales price should always be the gross price, but if you're getting paid on net commission, change it in the commission number, not the percentage. It will calculate the percentage for you. So we're gonna say that I'm keeping my 3%. So we'll go to 3%, tab over, it's gonna do total commission. Units are always gonna be 1 unit, 1 transaction is 1 unit. So it will always say that you can't change it. So don't worry about it. You're gonna hit save changes. Now, if you see that other little thing I had over here went away because I fixed it. Next thing you have to do if we're paying a buyer agent, because we have the listing, is you have to click add a co-broker payment. This notifies me that I have to cut the commission check to the buyer agent for closing. You're going to do the same thing. If they're getting 2%, you're going to say 2%. If you know that they're only getting, they're getting it on the net commission and you know they're getting 10,000, put 10,000 in, it'll calculate it. But we'll say, Brian, I'm going to give you 2.5% because I like you. So he's going to get 15,000. Tax ID. So they're looking for the tax ID of the co-broke company, their brokerage, Coldwell Banker, Keller Williams. A lot of times it's on their commission statement. If it's not on their commission statement, for better or worse, put a 9-digit random number in. Do not put all ones, do not put all zeros, don't put 1 through 9, don't put 9 through 1. The system knows, and when I go to pull it through, it kicks it back. So I'm just going to put random 9 digits in. Tax ID type is, it really doesn't matter, but 9 times out of 10, it's an EIN. So you would pick that. You got to put the company in. Brian, we're going to actually say you work for Coldwell Banker. I know I'm a horrible person, but we're going to say Coldwell Banker Realty. It's also going to be paid to Coldwell Banker Realty. You're going to put the agent's name in because we track this, because we like to invite them to co-broke appreciation events, reach out to them if you've had a good transaction, et cetera, et cetera. You know, he works for the Coldwell Banker in Andover. If you just type in Coldwell Banker, like Andover, it'll come up. Oh, yep, it's the Main Street one. So we'll click that and then put his phone number in. We're going to actually use Ashley's phone number because what the heck. And then you'd put his email in so that we have that as well. And then you're going to hit save changes. So now when I get this, I know that I have to pay Coldwell Banker $15,000. The next thing is, this is all your stuff here. So I'm getting 1 unit, my gross commission's 18,000. I'm going to net 11,520 because of our cap of royalty and company dollar. This should be like 90% accurate on your dashboard. Mine obviously says that I owe the full cap because I'm not a producing agent, but if you've already done some transactions, that will move as time goes on so you can kind of real time track what you should be making. So it's going to say that they're taking 1,080 for my 6% franchise royalty that everyone has to pay. That caps out at 3,000 for everybody. And it's going to take 5,400, which is 30% towards my company dollar cap of 24,000. So I will end up with 11,520 down here. Now, couple things about this tab. Up here, you can see edit agent payment. Now, you're going to do this if, 1, you're on a team and you actually have to split it with like your rainmaker or something like that. Or 2, you have an outside referral, something like that, or you want to, I think it's basically just outside for referral for what we use it here. Other market centers can use it for different things, but for us, this is what we use it for. So you'd hit edit agent payment. Now I obviously automatically come up, but if I'm going to split this with, let's say Ashley 50-50, I'm going to change my units to 0.5 and tab over and then hit calculate commission, and it will automatically calculate my commission to 9,000. Now down here, we don't pay into E&O through our commission tabs. Other market centers do, which is why ours is grayed out. You pay during your monthly dues. If you want to give to KW Cares National, which is the national fund from KWRI, you can put it here. They have a kids campaign as well you can put here, or Bold Scholarship Fund, you can put that here. Now, let's say I actually also have a referral that I need to pay. You would click add item. And then you would go to choose the type. And we're going to go to outside referral. You never want to pick inside referral for anything. Pretend it's not there. Just click outside referral. Referrals are typically 25%. So we're going to say it's a 25% referral fee. And much like the co-broke tab, you're going to have to do the same thing. It's an EIN and it's the 9-digit number. And you'd fill out the co-broke company. We're going to say it's the Keller Williams. And the agent name, I'm going to say is my friend Gina from the KW in Newburyport. So then I'm going to look up Keller Williams Newburyport. And there it is. Boom. Her number and her email. And then if I hit add, I'm going to hit save changes. A couple things happen if you see. It says remaining commission balance is 9,000 because now I have to add the other agent, Ashley, because I'm splitting this with her. And it says remaining balance unit is 0.5 because I need to give her the unit. So what I would do is click add another agent. And I'm going to look for Ashley. This is how, if you're on a team, this is how you would add your rainmaker, whoever you need to be. Can you not come up, Ashley? Yeah, I guess you can't give it to Ashley. I don't know why she's not coming up. We'll give it to Len. What the heck? So he's going to get 0.5 units, 9,000. It's not going to show me his associate royalty and company commission because that isn't information that's privy to me because it's his stuff, not mine. I'm going to hit save changes. As you see, that thing went away. So it will tell you over here in this nice little summary exactly what I should be taking home and exactly what Len should be taking home. Now, the only other thing you need to worry about on here is if we have excess funds that are going back to the seller, so we're holding more money than both the commissions for the listing agent and the buyer agent. Say there's $5,000 left over, those always go back to the seller. And we have to write the check to the seller. So in order to let me know that, click add note down here. And I would say 5,000 excess to Ashley, and she's the seller. Save changes. That notifies me that I know that I need to write an excess funds check to Ashley for the closing. The last thing I will mention is I mentioned KW local and KW national. KW national. KW local, we have a local fund here that God forbid something happened to one of our agents, we have funds that we can give back to them. With national and local, you do have to at least donate $1 in your lifetime so that you can apply for it. National is very strict. You have to apply for a grant. It's a whole red tape process, but local, it's us. It's our agents giving into our market center's local fund so that if God forbid something happens to one of our agents, we can help if we need to financially. So if you want to give to the KW local fund right now, the only way to do it is to let me know. So again, in the notes section, I'm going to hit edit, but in the notes section, you could say $5 to KW local, and then I know to deduct that from your closing as well to give to the local fund. Once all this is done, you're going to hit submit. It's going to ask you yet again if you want to donate to KW Cares National or the KW Kids Can, and it kind of tells you what they are so that you can learn more about them if you want to, or you could say, so because there's 2 agents on here, I could either just skip my donations, but I'm going to hit skip for all because I don't know if Len wants to give money. So I'm going to hit skip for all. And then it says it's been submitted. The only reason why you would request a termination is if it falls through or something like that, but it's been submitted. So then on my side, what I then see, just so that you guys can understand, is I get these commission requests. And it's right here, 138 River. Okay, so I'm going to click view commission. So on my side, I have to accept it. I have to approve it or return it, but it looks just like yours. It mirrors it. So I know that it's a 600,000. Our commission's 3,000. Oh, wait a minute, oh, I have to pay Coldwell Banker. Okay, perfect. Oh, Brian's information, perfect. I can track that now. And I can see that Jillian's getting half the unit and that she's splitting it with Len, and Len will be getting half the unit as well. And then if I hit approve, I filter it into my other system. And then I can also see that I have to give 5,000 to Ashley and $5 to KW Local. So that, I mean, in a nutshell, is really kind of what you have to do. Again, lots of moving parts. There's a lot of people involved in a transaction. If there are any date changes or price changes, things like that, please send me an email. I need to know if a date changes immediately so that I can change it in our system so that we know it's either closing later so we can move it out, or if it's closing earlier, because that's been happening a lot lately. Things are getting moved up. I can properly track it, move it up, and make sure that I have the checks ready for closing if need be. And then I can make sure it's definitely checked if it's moving up earlier. I might need to check it quicker. So that way you're not waiting, I'm not waiting. Another thing that I would say is, especially if we have the listing and we're holding the funds, I always send copies of checks to the agents as soon as we've gotten them. If you don't receive that from me within like 24 hours of the offer or purchase and sale being signed, please email me and make sure we actually got it. And if I'm just maybe running behind and I can't send it to you quite yet because it's getting busier, we've had some issues of thinking we maybe had a deposit and we actually haven't had it, and it can create a huge issue. So please just always make sure that we're actually holding the money. If you have the listing, make sure you get that verified by me. And I would even, if you have the buyer and you know that your buyer's dropped off a check or you've dropped it off a check, I would ask that office also to confirm that they actually have the check and have deposited it, just so that you can make sure that your client's money has been properly deposited on the other side as well. Other things, like, I'll just go over the documents quickly again, just so you guys see. So required, I mean, it's basic stuff. It's your mandatory disclosure, your exclusive right to sell listing agreement, or your exclusive buyer agency agreement, consent to electronic delivery, and wire fraud. Those are all the same for whether it's listing or buyer. Optional things are like, well, conditional. We'll go over conditional. So it's only conditionally required if it's like an if what, then what. Open house authorization. If you have the listing and you're not going to be doing the open house, you're going to have someone else do it for you. You want to get that signed so that the seller is authorizing that to actually happen. A lot of times the seller thinks that if they're hiring you only. They don't realize that you can get open house coverage, things like that. It can create some problems. Just make sure you always get that signed. If you're not going to be doing every single open house, it will cover you. MLS coming soon and deferral of showings form, that obviously only applies if it's going to be a coming soon or you're deferring the showings. Lead disclosure form is your most important form. You only need it if it was built before 1978, but it is the form you can get sued over the most. So make sure that you read that. If you have any questions, let me know. That form is, I'm a stickler for that form because you can get sued for so much money over such a silly form. Listings and inclusions, exclusions. This is if they're gonna like leave lights, fixtures, or this or that, or it's good to have just so that the seller knows exactly what they want to leave and don't leave in that way. The potential buyers know exactly what they're getting, things like that. MLS, non-MLS listing, that's obviously only if it's not going to be in the MLS system, which doesn't happen all that often, but can, especially with this market. Extension, this is only if you're extending like your listing agreement or something like that. If the listing was referred to you, we need a copy of the referral agreement, and we would need the W-9 for the company who referred it to you. And optional is seller statement of property condition. This is a Massachusetts form, but it's optional. You don't have to provide it, but if you want to, you can. It's kind of like a more in-depth listings inclusion exclusion list. So those are those. But again, these four are what's absolutely required in order to get paid. Then under contract, we need the fully executed offer. 9 times out of 10, you will have an offer. Only if it's like new construction would you maybe just go right to purchase and sale. Case by case basis. Obviously, if that happens, just shoot me an email and let me know so I know that we don't actually need it. You need the buyer agent's mandatory disclosure as well, which they should be submitting with an offer, which if you're submitting an offer, you should also be submitting with it. And then we need the fully executed purchase and sales agreement, obviously. Pre-approval, we only need if it's going to be a finance transaction. Obviously, if it's a cash transaction, there is no pre-approval. So 9 times out of 10, you will probably have this. Again, lead disclosure form. This one is the fully executed one between buyer and seller. Inclusion, exclusions. This is the fully executed one between buyer and seller. We just like to show that if it is an MLS, it's under agreement appropriately. So that's why we like that in there. Notice of designated and notice of dual. So when you sign an exclusive listing agreement, they actually consent within the listing agreement to dual agency and designated agency. You have to give them notice when it actually happens. So designated agency would be if, perfect example, I'm the listing agent and I work for this office and Ashley's the buyer's agent and she also works for this office. That is designated agency. So I would have to have my client sign that they realize that Ashley and I work for the same office and they're okay with it. And Ashley would have to have her client sign the same exact thing. Notice of dual agency only happens when you already have an exclusive listing agreement with the seller and an exclusive buyer agreement with a buyer, and that buyer wants to buy your listing. That's the only time it happens. You have to have an exclusive with both clients. It doesn't happen if you have an unrepresented buyer that walks through to your listing, and it doesn't happen if you're working with a buyer but you don't have an exclusive signed. That doesn't create a dual agency. You need to have both of those in place in order for that to happen. There can be an addendum to the purchase price, the purchase and sale, things like that. Please put that in there if that happens. Same thing with extensions. Again, I need to know if stuff changes, so the extension would go there. And again, if you do a seller statement, you need to have it signed by the buyer, so that's that. And then obviously close is very self-explanatory. We need the closing document, and the commission statement is what you're going to send over to the closing attorney so that they can prepare the closing disclosure. So that's what goes there. And that's pretty much it. Like I said, we'll do another class on like DocuSign and forms. We're going to have some of that stuff coming by people who are far more professional than I am with filling out forms and how they need to be filled out. But how are we doing? Questions? Are you all terrified and want to run the other way? I know we had some horrible technical difficulties, but how are we faring?
It was awesome. It was very helpful.
No questions? We good? You sure? I actually can't even see any of you anymore because I don't know what I did. No one wants to talk to me? Are you guys even there?
I want to talk to you.
You're welcome, Matt. Brian, I can see you laughing in
Yeah.
your office.
Can you hear me?
All right. It's lots to digest. If you have any questions, email me. If you're like, that was horrible, I don't understand anything, email me. Just let me know. Teaching is not my forte. I get very flustered and flub around, and we had technical difficulties, so it was kind of hard to follow, but
Oh, you
I'm
did an
here for you.
excellent job.
If you have
It was
questions, concerns, again, it's probably going to go right over your head until you have a transaction. Then you're like, oh God, I forget how to do that. I need to get paid. So I'm always here. I'm here. Ashley's here. We're here to help you. So when the time comes, you can definitely come see me. We can do one-on-ones, things like that. So thank you for coming and being patient with me. I really appreciate it. And I hope you guys have a great weekend.
Thank you. You too.
See you later.